Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Brothers and sisters, I just want to share something with you real quick that just came back to my mind, that brought my mind, back to this Muslim Mason dialogue that took place in 1987, about 36 years ago when I was about 29 years old. Something that just happened in New York concerning El-Amin, Eric Adams, that took my mind back to this. So, you know, and we'll show where end of August he gave permission for the Muslims to call the adhan for the salats without needing a permit, and that story was covered even in the Muslim Journal, but covered in all the newspapers, even CNN, etc. So, but there's something that I saw today that connected to this work that we did some years ago. Okay, we see this on CNN. New York City mosque can now broadcast Muslim call to prayer on Friday afternoon without permit. And we see in the Muslim Journal, right? Muslims to have right to amplify call to prayer. New York Mayor Eric Adams make historic religious declaration, right? Alhamdulillah, right? That was probably the end of August. Now, it's something I saw today that took my mind back to what I just showed you with Muslim Mason dialogue. As you can see again, coverage with Alhamdulillah. I'm just sharing this, and I'm gonna make the point of what came to mind. Now, this is recent. So today I see the New York Post, and what do I see there that connects Muslim Masons? And today I see the New York Post, and you see what it say: New York Post, Mayor Adams named Master Mason in secret Freemason ceremony at the mansion. You know, so I'm like, wow, okay, wait a minute. You know, it's a good thing. I'm just saying it drew my mind back to this, that he just did this good thing for the Muslims, and now he's a Mason. He just according to the way it's written up, if he's a Master Mason, maybe he was already entered apprentice fellow craft and was initiated and became a Master Mason. They say it actually happened right there at the in the Gracie Mansion there, right there at the City Hall. I believe that's what that would be. So that, of course, when I saw that, you know me, that brought that to my mind and said, wow. And so, hold on one second. Let me just show something else. Let's just share with you something that came to my mind and why. I just found it interesting. Right after that, he's a Mason. So Muslim Mason dialogue, you know, relationship, work that we worked on. And sometimes you can look at it that way. You just plant the seed, keep tilling the soil, and in time with patience, things will sprout. You know, so I'm just sharing this with you, let you know this is what brought that back to my mind. And I say, let me go look at that and see the connection and share it. A New York Post. So I'm just sharing with you what came to my mind is, you know, what he did for the Muslims, and just brought the Muslim and the Mason together again in that sense, and brought it to my mind the work that we did in Muslim-Mason dialogue. And so here you have him right here, was initiated, became a Master Mason. And that was just today. I saw that in the post. I think it happened on the 25th. So just wanted to show this connection, the way it came to me. Very interesting, because our first dialogue, and he's Prince Hall Mason. Our first dialogue, first and second ever, was with the Prince Hall first, and the relationship developed. And I'm going to share some other things that we found, what Imam Muhammad shared with us concerning the history of our community, and how there was always a relationship with the Nation of Islam back then, helping our community, and how many of them eventually joined the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we, of course, you have Muslims as Masons now. And listen to what Imam Muhammad said.
Some of you are still around here. You can be my witnesses. You can't go back as far as I can. I don't think most of you. But you do know what occurred, and you can witness to what I'm saying. You know, witness to what I'm saying. What I'm going to say. If we had a meeting, we would have to rent a place to have that meeting. And most of the time, the only people that would rent to us would be the Masons. So we had to rent one of their science temples or one of their lodges to have the meeting. If we had a meeting, we would have to rent a place to have that meeting. And most of the time, the only people that would rent to us would be the Masons. So we had to rent one of their science temples or one of their lodges to have the meetings. What occurred, and you can't witness to what I'm saying. You don't witness to what I'm saying. What I'm going to say. If we had a meeting, we would have to rent a place to have that meeting. And most of the time, the only people that would rent to us would be the Masons. So we had to rent one of their science temples or one of their lodges to have the meetings. What occurred, and you can't witness to what I'm saying. You don't witness to what I'm saying. What I'm going to say. If we had a meeting, we would have to rent a place to have that meeting. And most of the time, the only people that would rent to us would be the Masons. So we had to rent one of their science temples or one of their lodges to have the meetings.
Now, I just want to point out here, this is very interesting and important, is the Imam said this at a leadership meeting on February 26, 2000, when he put together the representative body, and when he nominated me along with others. It's the same day, it's the same meeting. And of course, you all know I had studied Freemasonry, written the books on it, etc. And so you know it was going to catch my attention that day. So just from our history, this shows that connection. And when I met with the Imam for the first time in '87, as you know, and I'll play a little bit of it again, he said it was touchy for him, the Masonry, and one is, you know, you have the Illuminati, you hear all of that when dealing with the Europeans, but when it came to our people, just like with Christianity, that was a whole different issue. And we'll play some things where a lot of those who joined the nation in the 30s, 40s, 50s were Masons, and they gave great help to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. As the Imam just said, sometimes we didn't have no places to meet, and they would be the only ones to let us meet in their place. So this, with him helping us out as Muslims, this and this within the same time span brought back to mind all of this that I'm sharing with you now. It just came to me that way. I guess that's how it happens, right, brothers and sisters? So now, in March 1987, after I wrote the book, El-Islam, Christianity, and Freemasonry, and we had this dialogue and in Washington, D.C., and we sent a copy to Imam Muhammad, a video of this, and that led to our meeting. And that's what our meeting was concerning, this here. And the reason I put it that way is it wasn't like a meeting that was set up. We were at the New Medina in Hattiesburg, Mississippi in 1987. And it was in August. And I was there, didn't have a meeting set up, and so it happened that way. It was at night. He was in a van, and I managed to put my book on a picture that somebody was passing to the Imam. And as I'm walking away, somebody came and said the Imam would like to meet with you. And I'm from Newark, New Jersey. He's from Chicago. But our first meeting concerning this was concerning Muslim Masons took place there in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, starting from the land New Medina. And that's where our first dialogue in concerning Freemasonry, Muslim Mason, etc. I'll just play a clip of that. I've played it several times. But anyway, I'm just saying this is what I saw today concerning the mayor of New York, Eric Adams, and how he had helped the Muslims. And also, he's a Mason. So Muslim-Mason dialogue, inshallah, has led to something good, as we should have dialogue with all different people. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. It's part of the dawah efforts and building relationships. And way back then, many people might not even knew nothing about Freemasonry, the connection and all of that. And I was young and dealing with that. So, alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. Just taking a few minutes to share this with you. I'll play a clip of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad saying that he once was a Mason. You can hear it on YouTube if you want, under The Lost Architect. Standing on the square.
I did talk to Ali at that time, But brother Imam, I just like to thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for the time, and I pray Allah to bless you with success.
First meeting.
And bless you with great understanding. I know you have great understanding. I'm just overwhelmed. But from my heart, I really want to try to make a contribution to the advancement of Islam here in America. And I really want to do my best. And I appreciate any advice. I know you said very simple.
Yes, it is. There's my desire to have this opportunity to meet you in person. And as I said, the presentation that you made, in my opinion, is very, very impressive. And I do believe that, but you're trying to bring them to question the value of secrecy, the legitimacy of secrecy as they practice it. And I think to that extent you're serving the religion, you're serving the interests of the Muslims, you know. But as I said, that because of this very sensitive issue of secrecy, masonry, and be truthful with you, I don't know if we have any grounds to work against these secret orders, unless they're practicing something that is harm and detriment to the society of man. You know, I don't think we have grounds to work against them or to work for the end or termination of these kind of orders. You know, I don't know if we have anything to go upon. But I do know of a lot of good that many of them are doing, like the Masons, the Lions Club, you know, those people like that. But you can publish that you met with me. Okay. And I wish you well. I appreciate that. Thank you. But you can publish that you met with me. Okay. And I wish you well. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah. I just played just a small portion of our meeting, which was after the article in the Muslim Journal and me and Imam meeting there in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. And you heard him at the end. He said, "You can publish that I met with you and I wished you well." So we did that. It took a little while to get the ad. Things were different than they were in later days. You know, everything had to be cleared through and verified, and took a little time. So we ran an ad in October, Muslim Mason Dialogue video, and he allowed me to put this quote. Remember, he said, "You can publish that I met with you and I wish you well." So here you see, I was very impressed with the presentation, the dialogue, and I wish you well. And at the end of the talk, you know, he said, you know, stay in touch with me. I look forward to us staying in touch. So, you know, that's why you see a lot of pictures and stuff with me and the Imam. Nobody introduced me to him. So I'm saying that to say it wasn't easy staying in touch with the Imam. I didn't know those pictures were being taken. And what I mean is, you know, you had people around him, you know, blocking people, et cetera, because, you know, nobody introduced me. Me and Imam had our own relationship. It developed the way it did in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. But I don't want to stay on that. Just to let you know, it wasn't easy staying in touch with the Imam. And when I say staying in touch, I mean just getting to him. But I was committed to it, so I wouldn't let anything stop me. So, and it wasn't easy because there were people stopping other good people and people from getting to them. But just stand to this here. This is, you see, October 2nd. Now, I'm going somewhere with this. October 2nd, 1987, right? The dialogue video. Okay, and with the Imam's statement there, approval, right? Now I'm going to show you another ad that ran on the 9th, okay? Now you see October 9th, 1987, right? Now you see the same ad, okay? You see the same ad. Now, what's very, very interesting and outstanding about this ad, okay, is I'm going to show you, I'm going to flip this over here, okay? In the same ad, because the Imam had told me he would support me in his own way, and to always listen to his lectures and he will support me indirectly in this. You see the same date. Now, what do you see here in October? Imam Muhammad, right? W.D. Muhammad, Muslim American leader, subject, Islamic formula for successful life, right? 2 ads, and where are they at? At the Masonic Temple. This one here in Cleveland on Sunday, November 8th, 1987. Then a week later at the Los Angeles Scottish Rite Auditorium, right? The Masonic place there. Now, here in Cleveland, right next to the temple there, the Masonic temple, they have the Shriners House, which is called Holy Quran Mosque, next to it. But here, this is us. You see this here? So my ad is on the inside, but right there on the back, you see Imam Muhammad is having a public address at where? 2 Masonic places, right? While my book is out, while we're doing this, we have the dialogue. All this is 1987. And I'm saying what happened with what we saw today with Eric Adams being a Mason, and how he worked, did what he did for the Muslims, etc. Brought all this back to mind, and I thought I'd just share it with you, even though I shared it before. Some of these things, maybe some people hadn't seen this, okay? But you can see the connection clearly, and this is so beautiful. I always keep this laminated, colorful, right next to each other at the Masonic Temple. And you heard what the Imam said in the early days when no one else would let us meet in their public places. The only ones would be the Masons. Will let us meet in their lodge, etc. Let the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the pioneers at that time. And then the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said he once was a Mason. So it just brought this back, and I wanted to share with us and kind of make this connection for us again. And just say whatever work you're doing, you do it, and be patient. And it's a lot of years. I mean, a lot more has happened since now over that point. But you plant the seed, and it may sprout in different ways in different situations, okay? But just keep doing the work and be patient. And so, alhamdulillah, this is Muslim Journal here. Now, the Scottish Rite is the main place. They have the Scottish Rite jurisdiction of North America is located in Washington, D.C. But the Scottish Rite is the main I would say the main headquarters, or I'm reaching for a term. No, I got it. You have the Scottish Rite, which is the 33rd degree. And you have the York Rite, which I think is maybe about 7 degrees. Yes, even in 1988, you see King Faisal Center for Research in Islamic Studies in Saudi Arabia. They sent requests for Muslim Masonic dialogue and some of my other lectures on Islam and Freemasonry, etc. But you see this, right? And I kept Imam Muhammad informed of all of this here. Okay, so you see where the work that we were doing, and that just brought this back to mind. Okay, now I'll show you a letter that we got from the Scottish Rite headquarters, etc., here in Washington, and from the Grand Lodge of London. So now you see the library, the Supreme Council, 33rd degree, ancient and accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, Southern Jurisdiction, their purchase order. As you can see, they wanted to purchase the book Freemasonry, Ancient Egypt, in the Islamic Destiny. And we sent that to them, and as well as the dialogue, okay? As you can see here again, I'll bring this closer. So here you see the Library and Museum of the United Grand Lodge of England, Freemasonry Hall on Great Queen Street in London, right? This is 1989, and what you see here, dear sir, I write to acknowledge the safe receipt of your publication, Freemasonry, Ancient Egypt, in the Islamic Destiny. So this is some of the work that we were doing, but what brought all this about again, and I haven't been dealing with it that much, is seeing that connection again, and with the mayor of New York, and you know, the good deed that he did for the Muslim community. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. Just sharing that. I didn't mean to go on this long. Hopefully I can wrap this up. Now in 1989 in Little Rock, Arkansas, that was probably March the 6th also, but in 1989, we had a second dialogue as well, okay? And again, that was March 4th, 1989. And so our first dialogues was with the Prince Hall Freemasons. And you may have seen lately that I've been invited to speak at other affiliates, international and some other affiliates. So, alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. Sometimes things just come to you that way. I most certainly wasn't thinking about this, but I was, I saw something, New York Post, of Eric Adams becoming a Mason, you know, and also reflecting on the good that he has set in place for the adhan to be called by the Muslim mosque without even having to have a permit. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. That's why I always say we want to try to always support our paper, the Muslim Journal, because it documents and preserves our history, which is so important, and it does it in a way that maybe others can't do or won't do. So support it as much as you can. If you can, of course, they're having the Time to Be Grateful every year. This year they're having it in New Jersey. Look in the paper and look for all the information. So we try to support it in the best way that we can. Alhamdulillah. So it's this, we see it in the Muslim Journal. Again, Muslims to have right to amplify call to prayer. New York City Mayor Eric Adams make historic religious declarations. So it's this and this that led to what I'm sharing tonight.
And a few very smart. Yes. A few were very smart. In fact, some of them belong to the Masons. Some of the brothers in the early 30s joined this Farad from the Masons. That language attracted the Masons, but they have a similar language. And it attracted the Eastern Stars, the sisters, African American sisters, who also belong to a similar group. They all similar. Masons, Eastern Star, and the teachings of Mr. W.D. Fraud. I'm sure that some others came in that were also from that same kind of language. And I can go on and on and on to show you. The idea of having a women unit and a male unit had already been done. There is what they call the Eastern Star, and what's the counterpart? The Masons, that's right, Masons and the Eastern Star, men and another group of women, the Eastern Star, the women, right? If I remember it correctly, it's a long time since I reviewed that. Yes. So he attracted Black Masons. He attracted the Eastern Star, another secret organization for women. So many of his first followers were from the Eastern Star, women from the African American, black women from Eastern Star, and from Black Masons, and